8 signs you are bottling up your emotions. For some people, somehow it looks so cool to not feel anything, to not care about your problems. You don't cry when you're supposed to because you don't want to look weak or drama, and you don't express excitedly for small things make you happy because you don't want to look lame. It means that you are bottling up your emotion. You render your emotions as useless, whereas they exist for a reason. Our emotion influence the decisions we make about our lives. And the way we experience an emotion leads our body to understand the action that should make. Such as, running away when we feel the fear, or hug someone when we feel happy and excited, or even mentioning when a joke caused us to feel uncomfortable. But when we repress our own emotion, we also lose the ability to deal with them accurately. If you don't work with your sadness, it will stew within us, not go away. So it's important to deal with every emotion you have. In this video, you will learn the sign if you are bottling up your emotion. When you have noticed that, it's time to change. 1. You avoid confrontation. Many people detest confrontation and will certainly feeling guilty for it. They avoid it because they don't want to make tense discussion or fight. Yes, of course, confrontation is painful. It also can be exacerbated by mental health issues, and sometimes leads to social anxiety flare-ups, fear of abandonment or feeling misunderstood. But it's not the scary thing. You can do it with manner instead of attacking. Avoid offensive and defensive roles that are too tempting. It will be quick, beneficial, and painless. But when you repress your emotion, you consistently avoid confrontations, because you don't want to damage your relationship. You don't seek the release of working through your disappointment, anger, and other negative emotions caused by others. You are priming yourself to repeat these emotions when the situation occurs again, and again skip the confrontation. 2. You often explode over little things. In many little things, you often explode, such as when you spill a cup of coffee, or when the train runs late. You often give dramatic reactions as well when you forget something, or when the waitress forgets your order. You are overreacted when you're angry and upset. It's simply because haven't released this, so you are angry and upset easily at almost everything. It feels like the small things push you over the edge. There are 2 reasons why this happens. First, you have anger issues to work through or you're too stressed. As the result, you take it out on the smallest of stimuli. Also, maybe you have been bottling up your emotion for so long, then finally you explode. 3. You don't feel like yourself. The next sign which indicates that you are bottling up your emotion is when you are put in the position of playing a character, and act like someone. You play the role that is not typically you, and pretend to be like others. You feel like you are not the same person socially as you are in private mode. You should figure out why this happens. Maybe you don't feel comfortable to share your emotions, feelings, and your truly personality. When you are in a social interaction, you don't feel like yourself. However, adaptation is very essential when you are in a social setting. This should be focusing on a specific part of your personality rather than filling in the gaps of it. You have been bottling up your emotion for too long when you noticed how you play different role when socialize when others. 4. You use a lot of distractions. Distraction is the tricky way to avoid any negative emotions, including anger and feeling upset. But when you are bottling up your negative emotions, you'll find yourself mindlessly scrolling through Facebook when it occurs. It's a significant sign that you should be aware. You constantly avoid your emotions, be looking for any distractions such as watching Netflix all day long. You don't want to discuss something to release your anger and other negative emotions. You don't want to give any response to the cause of anger, or confront the people who cause it. Instead, you scroll social media for many hours just to distract yourself. However, distraction does not effective, or maybe it only works for a moment. You still need to work through the negative emotions. Distraction can go further than actions in the moment of emotion and revolve around our entire coping mechanisms. This is the depression-related issues. People who are suffering from depression often make too much distractions, such as making themselves too busy to avoid being alone with their emotions and thoughts. 5. Emotional people make you uncomfortable. You also feel uncomfortable with people that show their emotions. For instance, you feel on edge when you see someone is crying because hearing to the bad news. You are really affected to someone's emotional display, either close off or feel uncomfortable in their own skin. It's the result of repressed emotion for too long, so it causes a collision within to watch someone do that. You may be difficult to express your emotion or have the certain stigma about displaying emotion you learned in childhood. Of course, you don't need to express our own emotion as much as there. But when other emotions make you uncomfortable, you need to be aware of this sign. 6. You always feel anxious. You also often feel anxious when you choose not to confront something, and questioning why you do so. Also, when you force yourself not to speak up, you feel anxious to hold your emotions in because you do not feel comfortable sharing them. When the level ups, you reach the point where anxiety becomes your natural state. You live with this fear, and it makes you exhausting. You can't relax whenever your emotions arise. 7. You have frequent headaches. If you often feel the frequent headaches without medical diagnosis, it could be another sign that you often repress your emotion. Remember that bottling up emotions can affect to your both mental and physical health. You experience irregular headaches without any underlying physical ailment for it. Especially when you hard to focus and not get any distraction, you will notice the headaches. So just be aware if you experience this regularly, especially when a negative emotions arise. It is the clear indication that there is something wrong with your mental health. 8. You have digestive issues. According to study, brain and gastrointestinal tract are closely related. Our gut is referred to as the second brain sometimes. So when you are stressed, you also will have digestive issues. Repressed emotion does not only affect your mental health, but also will damage your body. Emotions can be felt in the gut, especially fear, anger, nervousness, and sadness. So when you feel nervous, you often feel sick or uncomfortable in your stomach. That's why bottling up your emotion is not a good thing, but it's detrimental for our mental and physical health. Instead of repressing it, you need to work through it and release it.